Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm checking out a 2020 Toyota RAV4 TRD off-road. This vehicle is sitting on 225/60 all-terrain Falcon tires, wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a matte black finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors in the front and solid rotors in the back. The name of this color, well, actually colors, there's two colors. The main color is magnetic gray metallic, and it's kind of a cloudy day, but since it's gray, you might be able to tell what it looks like. And then the roof is called Ice Edge, so it's kind of like an off-white, I guess you can say. So taking a look here at the front, it actually has quite a bit of features here in the front. There is parking sensors kind of hidden right in here. There's one, you can see there. There's one over here. Across the front, the parking sensors kind of help identify objects in front of you as you're squeezing into a parking spot. You also have a camera system. It's like a full surround view camera system. There's one of the cameras in this. You notice it's in the very center, which is great. Looks really good. And you won't need to keep that clean because of bugs and stuff. But this is really handy, especially when you're coming up to a bumper or a curb or just anything and you just don't want to scrape the front. Which it does. This particular vehicle has a pretty good approach angle. However, there's no tow hooks or anything like that for recovery hooks or anything like that. So an off-road vehicle without those things is kind of weird, but it's not really a fully off-road vehicle. It's just, you can get off the beaten path a little bit, but that's, you know, it's intended mostly for the road. So the grille is a flat black. So you can see this part's a flat black, and it's kind of hard to tell with the gray. So you have the gray here, and then the flat black here and here and here. This whole section down here is, from here to here, is flat black, and then you have the body color down here, the gray. Now it does have a camera here behind the rearview mirror, and so this is not a view camera. This is actually for safety systems. It does have the adaptive cruise control, the radar adaptive cruise control, and the radar sensor is behind the emblem, so they hid that well. And then the camera system is for watching the road and also street signs. You can check that out on my test drive video. So the headlights are powered by LEDs. So it has 3 LED reflectors for your low and your high beams. You have a regular standard bulb for your turn signal and an LED fog light. Taking a look at the profile, now the handles are body colored, but the top of the side mirror here is a gloss black. And then you have a flat black. That black plastic that you saw from the front is carried over around the top of the wheel well, but not here and not here. And then you have the bottom portion of the vehicle here on the sides, that black plastic. This is intended to protect the vehicle from road debris and stuff, but it's very strange that it doesn't have it right there and right there. There's a little gap. Same thing here in the back. Right there and right there is a gap. So you have it on top and you have it at the bottom, but there's a little gap right where the mud and everything slings up on the vehicle. They just have a gap there. Now there's a little tiny mud flap down here and down here, which kind of takes away from the off-road you know, capabilities as far as the approach angle and stuff like that. So I guess that's something you could take off, but it's not that big, and of course this vehicle is mostly for on-road anyway. So there is some chrome on the top of the windows. So you can see it's kind of like accented here on the top with the chrome, and I guess that transitions up to the white. The center pillar is a flat black, or like a satin black there in the center. Now if you were to tint the front glass and it would solidify, this whole section right here is one solid piece. And then you have some gloss black back here, and that kind of extends out to, you know, separate the roof from the bottom portion and connect the back. This is what the key looks like, and it's basically just a key fob because it is a proximity key. As long as you have this with you, it could keep it in your pocket. You can use the vehicle 100%, but it does have useful buttons. There's a lock and unlock button, the ability to open up the power liftgate, and a panic button. Let's go ahead and push that panic button. All right, it's got a pretty strong horn. I was surprised. I thought it was going to be more of a little beepy horn, but it is a nice strong horn. And then, of course, you can open up the power liftgate and all that. Now, there is a physical key on the inside in case you need it. Here on this side, there's a little latch and it slides out in case you need it right there. But as long as you have the key with you, it can be in your pocket, in a bag, as long as it's within a close proximity to the outside of the door. It knows where the key is in relationship to the vehicle does. You can lock the door by putting your finger over the sensor indicated by the two little lines here. So it senses the key position outside the door, it senses your finger over that sensor, and it locks the door for you. To unlock it, there's a sensor on the inside of the handle, so all you have to do, put your hand behind the handle, and as long as you have the key on the outside of the door, not the inside, you can get in the vehicle. It also has a physical key location here on the driver's side only. Now this is a feature that most people don't mention and most people don't know about, I guess. Basically the doors go all the way to the bottom of the vehicle. So you can see all the way here. So when we open this door, so you can see it goes all the way down like so. So that way, when there is debris and stuff slinging on the side of the vehicle and dirt, there's actually a seal right here as well. It keeps this threshold from getting so dirty. So when you're getting in and out of the vehicle, you're not sliding your clothes against basically what's effectively the outside of a dirty vehicle. This is all enclosed and protected from most of the debris and everything. So that way, it keeps your threshold, the area in which you get in the vehicle, relatively clean. I think that's a great move, especially for SUVs, especially for off-road type vehicles, because you're basically guaranteed to get dust and dirt on it, at the very least, if not mud, on a off-road vehicle when you go off-road. Okay, so here's the inside of the passenger side door. Soft touch surfaces here at the top, and it's kind of like a vinyl synthetic leather here at the top, maybe even soft tex. And then you have this continuing down, and it has this red stitching all the way across the top. And then down here, you start getting into the hard plastics. So that's the durable, hard, easy to clean plastics down here. Now, speaking of surfaces, the touch surfaces, the inside of the handle right in here is a very comfortable, grippy rubber. It's like you grab the door and it's like you have this good solid grip on it. And the knobs and different things on the inside, I'll show you that, has this nice rubber comfortable thing. Like when you turn the knob, it's like, wow, this is really nice. You know, it's really quality feeling. So grabbing the handle and feeling that rubber grip really stands out from other vehicles. A lot of them just have smooth or hard plastic or something like that, and it's not as, it just feels kind of higher end, I guess. Now the armrest is all kind of one solid piece here, soft touch, and it is fairly soft, but it bottoms out relatively easy. It's soft on the surface, but down here it's not cushy. I mean, it's not like a pillow or anything like that. Down here you have a bottle holder and a storage area. It does have the JBL sound system, and there's your speakers. You notice the speaker grill kind of looks like Walmart sign or something. All right, there's the threshold, and just all plastic, nothing fancy here. Manually adjusted seat, and you have the synthetic leather seats with the red stitching. In this case, it's in a French stitching, and then it's regular stitching there. Now there's heated and cooled, heated and ventilated seats. You see the little perforations there in the center. It has a little pattern that extends up. A little bit of bolstering going on, but nothing too intrusive. It doesn't bother me at all, and as far as my body type. Then you have the TRD embroidered in the headrest, which is a nice touch. And then you have the TRD off-road rubber mats, which is pretty cool. It has like this mountain design and really high quality, and they fit in there perfectly. There's plenty of legroom here. I'm going to put all the specs and dimensions in the description. You can check that out. But you can see it's just a slight tapering here, but just overall nice and wide. There's your glove compartment. Kind of soft landing on that. It's all smooth plastic on the inside. And I love this little shelf right in here. So you can put stuff in there, and it has like a rubberized bottom portion. So that way you know, stuff doesn't slide around so much. Then you have a soft touch dash here and here. There's that matte metallic extending from the door here on the dash. So here's your opening here in the front as far as the size of the door, the opening, and the swing of the door. Now the back door has a pretty good size opening. I mean, it's nice and wide open here and everything, and it's easy to get in, but the swing of the door seems a little bit too short. It should swing out a little bit wider, just slightly wider maybe. I don't know, just seems like it just stops a little bit too short, but that's just, maybe just as me. But here's the inside of the rear door, and it has same thing, soft touch surfaces like so, the stitching, a little bottle holder at the bottom, but very similar to the front door. There's your threshold area. Now interesting, the back of the seats, the driver's seat has no pocket, but the passenger side does have a pocket. So I'm not sure why they didn't put it on the driver's side. But anyways, that's the way it is. Here's the seat here in the back, and it has a similar styling as the front. Not very much bolstering at all, but it is easy to slide in and out when you don't have all that bolstering, especially with a bench seat like this. You do have armrests with cup holders there in the center portion. And this is pretty cushy. Now this is much softer than the armrest in the door. Very soft and cushy. This does have a one-piece floor mat all the way across and has a flat center portion. So there is a hump in the middle, but it's flat on top, so it's easier to manage in a way. And then you have two USB charge ports back here. And then you have some climate control vents, so you can see those two charge ports. Now these seats do fold down to add to your cargo space, but they don't fold down completely flat. There is a little bit of a tilt like so, but it's not so bad. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, starting here at the top, it does have the roof rails that you can put the crossbars across them. So if you want to put some cargo on top or surfboard or whatever you want to do, you can put the crossbars, but right now it's just the standard rails. There's a little shark fin antenna that's matching the top color. And then the third brake light is at the top of the glass right in here. It does have a rear wiper. The tail lights are a combination of LED and standard bulbs. You can check out my night video. I have a full night video showing what this vehicle looks like at night. And this is something this is one of my pet peeves, I guess you could say, and that is a backup camera that's offset. It's not in the center. They put the camera in the front in the center, but this one is way off to the left. So when you're looking at the camera system, it has to accommodate for that. So a little bit of a, I just don't understand why they do that. Why not just put it in the middle? It looks a little tacked on when it's not in the middle too. It just seems like an aftermarket add-on. Now the badging back here is all blacked out, but the Toyota emblem is not. So it'd be nice to go ahead and do that too. Parking sensors across the back, and just like the front, they integrate it here in this black portion, flat black portion. It does have dual exhaust ports, but of course this is not a true dual exhaust vehicle. Now you can use the key, remember the button I showed you as far as opening up the lift gate, or you can push a button under here. So there's a button, and of course it's not in the very center. You have to reach to the right to push the button. So everything's offset. Nothing's symmetrical, I guess, there. Does have LED tag lights. And you see this camera, there's a camera right here. That is for your rear view camera, rear view mirror camera system. I'll show you that when we get on the inside. And I like the height. This is a really good opening. The having a hatch is really superior in my, for getting stuff in and out of the vehicle. So this is great. Has a good load floor off the ground. It's not too low, not too high, that kind of thing. Have all my camera equipment in here, but does have the JBL subwoofer mounted integrated into the side of the vehicle, and there's one light there on the right side. So check out my night video. It's not very, it doesn't illuminate the back, especially with all this black. So it would be nice to have at least two lights in this particular case, but it only has one. Over here is a 12-volt power supply, and then you have an AC adapter like you'd find in your house, a 2-prong. It's only 100 watts, so you're not doing a whole lot with it. And then there's a power supply, 12-volt. Little net pocket there on the right side. Put some stuff. You do have the ability to adjust the load floor about 2 inches down with the panel under this. And if you take that out, it reveals your spare tire. So you can fold these seats down, one or the other, or both, and add to your cargo space. You can actually take the shade out as well. So you have the shade, but you can take that out. You can fold the seats down, and once you fold everything down, you can fold down one seat if you need to have some passenger space, but if you fold everything down, take out the shade, you have a massive amount of space back here for cargo. To lower the power liftgate, there's a button up here. You can push that and it'll go right on down. You can also use the key as well. It has a locking fuel door, and it is here on the driver's side. And it has a traditional cap, tether, and a place to hang the cap while you're pumping gas. To start it up, as long as you have the key inside the vehicle, you put your foot on the brake, hold it there, and push this button. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. Now you notice the floor mat actually hooks in place on the driver's side. So you can snap it in place, and that way it doesn't slide around on you, because that could be a safety issue. There's your accelerator and brake pedal. Now the accelerator pivots here at the bottom, and a nice footrest here on the left side. Fantastic. So let's take a look under the hood. To the right of the fuel door latch, there's the hood latch. To open the hood, there is a latch here slightly to the right. So here's the center portion right here, and it's slightly to the right. You just reach in, move it to the left, and lift up. And the hood's fairly light. You can see there's the latch right there. Now the hood requires the prop to hold it up, and the prop is under the hood, and it swings down to that arrow. The under portion of the hood does have some insulation right there in the center. This is mostly for sound, keeping it from echoing and stuff under there. Now there is a seal across the back. This helps out with across the back and the sides and here in the front here. But this helps out with airflow and also some sound deadening as well, as far as just keeping it under the hood. So here's the engine compartment. Now the strut towers it's braced in with the unibody structure of the vehicle. So it's kind of like a cross brace here that connects the top of these strut towers. You have insulation on the firewall, almost completely insulated back there. Help with heat transfer and noise. And this is a 4-cylinder engine, and the intake is here in the front, and the exhaust is here in the back. Now it has this cover. This is actually a foam type material. Like, it feels like a a more dense Nerf football, and it's basically just a cover, and you can take it off, and it's like a foam material, so it's not like a hard plastic rattling, and that's what it looks like underneath. So it looks like somebody has been doing some little bit of off-roading with this vehicle. It only has 5,000 miles on it, so I guess they went straight for the trails. The inside of the driver's side is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So your power windows are right here, and one touch on all 4 windows. So you can one touch up and down. They go up and down quite fast. So that's for all 4. Door lock controls, and then your side mirrors are adjusted here. You just pick a side and adjust it with that little pad. Now the passenger side had a manual adjusted seat, but this side, driver is always special. They have to one-up the passenger in some way. So in this case, they're really one-upping with a power seat. It's kind of like it's like a dentist chair. You can go up and down, you can tilt, you can go forward and back, and then you have a 2-way lumbar adjustment. And these are, remember, heated and ventilated seats. Now notice the ventilation is not super strong. Like some vehicles, you can really feel the air flowing through. This one is kind of more subtle, but it does get the job done. To the left of the steering column, you have some buttons. This is your dimmer switch for your interior gauges. Automatic high beams, you can turn those on or off. Has a little indicator light. This is to warm up the area underneath the windshield wipers. So you can turn this on and it'll warm that area, and if it's frozen, it'll release the windshield wipers sooner than the defrost on the vehicle. This is for a camera system, really cool. I'll show you that when we look at the screen. Heated steering wheel button there, you can turn that on or off, and this is the ability to open up your power liftgate in the back. Have a nice little storage pocket. It's like a baby version of the one on the other side, and then you have a tilt and a telescoping steering column as well, and it locks in place here. I'm sitting in the driver's seat checking it out, and I have the seat all the way back and all the way down to give you an idea of what the legroom's all about. Now I'm 6 feet tall, and this is probably a little bit too far back for me, but the footrest here is still reachable for me, but it just feels like a little bit too far back. I do have some pretty good knee room here on the left side, but on the right side, this is a hard plastic and kind of gets in the way, especially, depends on how you position your knee, but it just has been an issue driving this vehicle. So here's the steering wheel, and it has a leather wrap steering wheel, or synthetic leather, I'm not sure, but it is a little bit slippery. It doesn't have a super good grip on it. But it's not bad, not the worst I've seen. And it's not super soft. It's actually really hard right up in here. So the top of the steering wheel kind of digs into your hands while you're gripping it. But there is some parts that's a little bit softer than others. It's pretty interesting. It could be a little bit softer, I guess. So the steering wheel, you notice it has these buttons. And the way they're grouped is, you see this bottom portion here and here. These are related. So you have your volume for your radio, voice recognition, mode, which is basically your audio source, and then this is to change through your tracks. So this is kind of like radio stuff. And then right above this on the right side, this is cruise control stuff. So we turn the cruise control on, we can set and resume and cancel just like a normal cruise control, but it is an adaptive cruise control. A little bit more advanced than that because it has a lane tracing assist and road departure warning and all that stuff. So lane departure warning. So this once you have it set, you can check this out on my I'll show a little bit on my test drive video. The adaptive cruise control, you can set the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you, and it'll match the distance, it'll match the speed that they're going. And then this one actually will help steer the steering wheel. It doesn't work very good, but it does keep you from like leaving the road or whatever. But it's supposed to follow the lines. It has lane tracing assist. So it traces the line, it follows the vehicles in front of you, and it tries to keep you from wandering around too much. But it's not all that great. But you know, it is just it's not intended to drive the vehicle, you know, it's just like a safety feature. So here on the left side, these buttons correspond with the screen between the gauges. We'll get to that in a minute. There is a phone button. So this is once you pair your phone, you have access, you can answer calls and make calls, stuff like that. And then this back button corresponds, you know, with this system right here. And I'll show you that in a second. Your wipers for your front and rear is on the right side. On the left side is your turn signal, but you also have your headlight controls. So you have daytime running light off, and you can check out my night video for more details on this. You can have a completely dark vehicle on the outside. Automatic parking light, and then headlights. Parking light is basically just like a dim version of your headlights too. And you will need to have an automatic mode in order for the automatic high beams. Once you turn that on, you do have to have this in automatic, and you have to have your high beams on for it to work. And then this is your fog lights. You can turn those on or off. Now they will automatically turn off when you turn your high beams on. Okay, so here's your gauges, and you can notice here on the outside, this is a physical gauge here, and these are physical gauges here. So that's your tachometer, your RPMs, fuel gauge, and your engine coolant temperature. But right here in the center is this trying to connect them together. But you can see the clear line. This is a screen here. This is pretty good amount of information in here, but also not too complicated. I think they did a pretty decent job of integrating this screen. So it has a digital speedometer at the top, and then it even has kilometers per hour. It's small here. You can swap those if you want in the settings. Digital clock, outside temperature, your trip, and then it has information in the middle. You can actually change the way this looks, and I'll show you in just a minute. But using these buttons here, I'm gonna scroll right. So when I go right, you can see those little icons pop up, showing you that this is part of a menu system. Okay, so the first one was here. So this is your fuel economy and distance to empty. Then you have like an eco indicator there, just kind of helping you drive if you want to save gas. And then you go to the right, and then this would be, you can turn on and off safety features here, and then you have a digital compass. Scrolling to the right again just shows you what's going on with your radio. You can change your audio source as well here. And then here's your trip. So there's 2 trips, and it gives you a trip distance and a total time. Over here you have a driver's information, and you have a trip, and you also have your all-wheel drive system, what's going on there. Now, you know, it depends on what you have going on. So you see these little these are actually like little bars. So as you're going off-road, each wheel will have a bar showing you how much energy is applied to that particular wheel. What's interesting about this all-wheel drive system is that it has the ability to disconnect your rear one wheel or the other in the rear. It has a clutch system, so that way if you have one tire spinning, it can disengage that wheel, keep that wheel free spinning instead of breaking it, and then transfer the power only to the wheels that are actually having traction. So that's pretty neat. And this has the little indicator on which wheels actually have that power. All right, scrolling to the right again. This will be your settings. You have lane tracing, different ones. So you have blind spot monitor, pre-collision system, parking sensors, rear cross traffic alert. That's part of your blind spot monitor system, which you can, you know, if you want to disengage that as well. And then road sign information as well. You can turn that on or off. And then down here with the settings, let's go to settings right here. You hold down the OK button, and let's go to meter type. And then that's where you can change the way this looks. So you can see it says digital and then analog. So right now we're looking at the digital, so let's change it to analog. So now we have this type of speedometer. If this is what you prefer, you can have this as well. I prefer the digital, but it does have that option, which is nice. Alright, so let's get back out of that. Let's go to the right. Stored messages will show up there, and then it goes back to the beginning. So that's kind of a quick rundown of what this screen's all about, and you know, different information. You can actually turn the screen off if you wanted to. The information in the center, if you wanted to, in the settings. So if you don't have to have stuff in there in the middle. Okay, another screen. So this is your radio touchscreen, and I'm going to turn on the headlights so that way we have some backlit buttons here. Maybe it'll show up a little bit better. So right now we're in the home screen. So you can see the touch screen is here, and then you have these physical buttons around the outside. So you have physical buttons there on the outside, physical volume, tune through the station knobs. So those are all good. You notice it kind of sticks up a little bit from the dash. So it's disconnected from the styling of the dash. That way it raises the screen without raising the dash, basically. Okay, so this is the home button and this is the home screen. So right now it's showing 3 different things. So you can add, there's like information as far as your phone, Bluetooth audio, and then your map. And then you can customize the screen if you like. When you push menu, it pops up here. So this is where you can go into a lot of different settings. So projection, that is your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. So once you have a phone connected to the system, it has to be wired connection, then you'll be able to go in there, and whether it be Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, it'll pop up there. You can put in a destination for your navigation system here. You can go directly to your audio. Let's go ahead and go to the audio. And let's change the source because it was playing Bluetooth. So it's the AM, FM, satellite radio, USB, and Bluetooth. And so let's go ahead and change that to satellite radio so you can see what it looks like. You have your presets there at the bottom. It does have some album art, and looks like it's on some kind of country station right now, so it shows the name of the artist and all that stuff. Alright, so that's audio. So you notice you have the audio button here as well. So you have physical redundancy in the buttons as well as on the screen. So you can see it's on the screen and right here as well. Same thing with the map. You can put in a destination, or you can hit the map and look at it or whatever. You have app button just like you do over here, that kind of thing. So there's no apps installed right now, but it does, that's how you go to it anyway. You do have some vehicle settings right here that you can go into. You can push the map button and look at the map. You do have the ability to pinch zoom, so that way it's familiar with your cell phone, I guess. You can change through your tracks. You can go to your phone. Once you pair your phone, you have access to your phone book, recent calls, all that good stuff. You'll be able to send and receive calls. And there's the app button, and we're go back toward the beginning. But anyways, so there's kind of a quick rundown of the screen and how to use it. And you know, of course, there's a lot of stuff in here that you don't have to use regularly. It's just there in case you need it. All right. So there is your climate control. So it's a dual zone climate control, and you have these knobs. Now, one of the things about the knobs is they're rubberized, so it's really nice, high quality feeling knobs, especially this big ones here, really cool looking. They kind of have this pattern on them that looks pretty neat, as well as feeling cool too. Okay, so it's a dual zone driver and passenger. I have them sync right now. You can unsync them by pushing that button, or simply turn the passenger knob. And then that way you can adjust the passenger separately from the driver. So that's your temperatures, your fan speed, where you want the air to blow is there, and then you recirculate the air. You can also cut out the rear climate control and just focus on the front if you're just a driver by yourself or whatever. Front and rear defrosters, and then you have an eco mode, which will kind of cut down on the climate control a little bit, try to save gas type thing. So it's the eco mode specifically for the climate control system. So down here is a heated seat and ventilated seat. So right now it's a high, medium, and low vented seat, and then the heated seat is high, medium, and low heated seat. Now the vented seats, like on low you can barely feel it. Like even on high it's just barely noticeable. So it's like some vehicles are like really, you can tell that the air is flowing, but this one is very, very subtle. The traction control, you can turn it off here. Default will be on, so if you need to spin tires, you can turn that off and allow you to get unstuck or whatever the case may be that you need to spin tires. And then, so here's a pretty neat, I like the way they integrated the red around a wireless cell phone charger. So you put your phone right there, and I have a pretty thick case on my phone, so it's not really picking up all good. It charges sometimes it doesn't. So if you have a real thick case, it might not work. So thinner cases should be fine. 12-volt power supply and a USB port there. So this is where you connect your phone to the system for using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and then a nice convenient place to charge it there as well. Now this is not illuminated, this area, so you can see in my night video it's very dark. Alright, so here's the shifter, and it looks pretty cool. Feel it kind of contours to your hand. Let's go ahead and put it in reverse. It's because when we do that, it's a pretty cool camera system pops up. So you have the reverse camera, which is offset, which is a little annoying to me, but it also has this top camera, top view camera. You can also change your views here in the back, depending on your needs. You also, on this side, you can hit up here and focus on, it just basically zooms in, so you can focus on particular areas where your wheel is. So get close to a curb or something, and you notice it has an active guideline, so as you turn the steering wheel, it'll give you those guidelines showing you where your wheels are. And I like the front one popping out just to give you an idea of where your front wheel is going to land. You know, sometimes you only focus on the back, not necessarily focus on the front. So you can kind of get that different views on all four corners in this particular case just by tapping. Now it also has, when you have the camera engaged when you're driving, there is a automatic, let's see if we can push that button there. There's an automatic setting to where when you're driving, when you slow down really slow, like you're going to pull in a parking spot, it will automatically turn on the camera so you can see where you're going. Really cool, and the front camera as well. So I'll show you that in the test drive video, and also the night video too. It's pretty neat how that works, and it's really good. So this is kind of like a, more like, this is pretty cool. It looks like you're in the, makes the car look like it's invisible, and it kind of gives you what's around you, so you can see what's immediately around the vehicle. That's pretty neat. The whole spinning around the car thing, this is pretty useful, but the other thing where it's just kind of spinning around the car, it's just, I think it's just for looks. It's not really, doesn't seem that useful. A more static image would be more useful, like that, to me anyways. So the camera system's great, and the fact that when you put it in reverse, it has all that stuff, but also going forward and creeping through a parking lot, it also turns on automatically as well when you have it set like that. Okay, so we have some buttons here, and you have electronic parking brake. This engages the rear wheel. And right now it's set to automatically come on when I put the vehicle in park. So when I go to drive, it automatically releases, which is great. You notice the light went out. When I put it in park, it engages. Really like that. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't even think about it. And you always have a parking brake engaged when the vehicle is in park. So that's good. And then you have your brake hold. This will keep the vehicle, it'll hold the brake for you while you're sitting in traffic when the vehicle's in drive type deal, if you like that. Once you engage that, then it'll do that. So you have an Eco, Normal, and Sport. Okay, so when you push the Eco button, this pops up green. Normal, it looks like that, and Sport pops up red. So it's pretty neat. So Eco would be, remember the Eco for your climate control, this is Eco for your engine transmission to try to sip gas a little bit better. Normal is a little bit less on gas but more performance, and then Sport is less gas and more performance. So this is your all-wheel drive system, and sometimes there is some situations in which when you're going off-road that it's better to tell the vehicle what condition the vehicle's in, and it'll act appropriately, and it'll actually be better for your off-road experience. So mud and sand is a little bit different than rock and dirt. So it's going to be different, you know, gear ratios and all that stuff, and also the way you take off. You know, when you're like in a slippery environment like snow, you don't want to take off so fast because you're going to lose traction. So you know, you might start off in second gear or something like that. But anyways, and then you have the normal. So you can kind of turn this knob and fine tune it. And unfortunately, I don't have a place to demonstrate off-road vehicles. So, you know, just have to understand how it works, and mostly an on-road vehicle anyway. This is what's called the downhill descent control. And it's kind of like a cruise control, but for going downhill really slow, and it kind of creeps along and keeps you from sliding too far. I don't have any experience using that, but you know, from what I understand, it's like a very slow speed, keeping you from sliding down a hill, cruise control type thing. Keeps you from going too fast, basically, and losing traction as well. Because if you slap on the brakes when you're going downhill on a loose gravel or whatever, then you're going to slide. So you're going to lose traction. So this kind of maintains traction without going too fast, you know, that kind of thing. Alright, so we have some cup holders here, and nice and wide open. Has open space here in the middle, so you can utilize this space for more than just cups. These little things articulate, so you can put different size cups in here. And of course it's outlined in red, which is looking nice. No illumination though. Alright, so here's your armrest, and it's pretty soft actually. Unlike the doors, the doors bottom out. This one is much softer and comfortable. It's not like super duper soft, but it's a lot better than the doors. And it's like a synthetic vinyl type material. But it has a property line, so check it out. So your passenger, if you're going to show, if you choose to allow them to put their arm on the armrest, they at least have a property line so they can stay on their side and not hog up the whole thing. And all this is secured, and there's a little button to release it. And when you release it, it's kind of spring loaded, so it goes up, it doesn't slam back down on you. So that's nice. And you can lift it up like so. And there's a storage space in here, and it is has 2 USB charge ports. And then this is like a little felt lining that you can take out. And I wish this should be a lighter color. Looks like it has some hand sanitizer spilled on it. But this, if this was a lighter color, then you can see in there a little bit better, because it is really dark and there's no light. So having this black background doesn't help with trying to see in here. So if this was a lighter color, like you know, a beige or a lighter gray or something, it'll really help out with the visibility, because you'll have some kind of reflecting light out of here, because at nighttime it's impossible to see in there. Now there is a tiny space. You see these little bumpers right here? Has these little bumpers, and it keeps it from going all the way down. So therefore there's a tiny space for wires to go in and out of this compartment if you need to. Some armrests have a designated spot, but since this is all the way across the front, I guess anywhere around the front you could squeeze a wire through for, you know, charging your phone or whatever. Okay, so the rear view mirror is actually has 2 different functions here. So one is a mirror, a regular mirror that's auto dimming. Then you pull it this way. Now it's a rear view camera system, and the camera is located in the back glass. So when you're driving, you don't, let's say you have a bunch of passengers in the back with huge afros or whatever, and you can't see out, then you have this. So the mirror will, things in the vehicle will obscure your view. This will give you a direct view outside the vehicle, which is really good. And also, it doesn't blind you when cars are behind you with their high beams on or whatever. And the only issue I've had is that since this is not a mirror, it's a screen, your eyes have to focus really close. So transitioning your eyes from the road, which you're looking far away, to this very close it's a little weird, and you want to make sure that it's appropriate for you. Now you can go in here and there's these settings you can go in as well. You can change the, move it up and down, change your brightness and all that stuff as well. Down here is your garage door opener control, your HomeLink garage door opener control as well. So the camera system is pretty neat. You just have to make sure that it's appropriate for you and your eyesight and all that. All right, so this opens up and has a place for your sunglasses or whatever, safety glasses. It has a felt lining back here, but right here is just a hard plastic, right where the lens is. So you have some lights. These are just standard halogen bulbs. You can turn on all your interior lights by pushing that button, or you can have them turn on with the door, pushing that button. These are for your sunroof, and then this is for roadside assistance. It has a little cover just in case keep you from accidentally pushing it. We'll look at the sunroof in just a minute. Here's the visor, and it has like a vinyl material on the outside, and mirrors and lights, standard bulbs there. This lifts up, and you have a this pulling out. So this right here does not slide out. Like some visors slide out. This one, instead of sliding out, it has this part that extends out. And I think this is actually better because instead of shifting your coverage, you actually add to your coverage. So these are pretty cool. Good idea to add that. Okay, so the sunroof. So the sunroof has a shade that covers 100% of the light. So if you don't want any light coming in, you can have that. Here's, you open it up. So let's go ahead and vent it up. Go down. Now we open it. Push it again. Goes a little bit further back. All right, so looking at the visibility in the back. I haven't had any issues. It does have some significant pillars back there, but just in general driving it, it doesn't really cause a big problem. I haven't noticed any problem at all as far as visibility, driving this, just driving it normal. Now it does have the blind spot monitor system, the awesome camera system, rear cross traffic alert, parking sensors, you name it. It has a lot of technology to help you with blind spots, but just in general, it just seems like it's fine. Even with what looks like large pillars back there, once you get used to them, it's not a big deal. Alrighty, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
That you would find quite charming.